Come on in, everybody. Okay. Get everybody in here who's ever around. Maybe you're at work, or maybe you just, you're not here right now. That's okay. You can watch the, the replay. I'm thinking refund, rewind, replay. I'm thinking about it all. All right, let's put the duckies to rest and come on in. Man, there's so much going through my head. It's unbelievable. Hello, Charlene. Hello, Dana. Thank you and welcome. And thank you, everybody else who will be joining me as I, go along here. Today, I called it Thoughts in My Head. Or something like that. It's just things that go through my head. May not be the best thing because, man, first of all, I gotta say, the Barbie movie. I loved Barbie. When I was a kid, I loved Barbie. My mom, because we couldn't afford all of the Barbie stuff, um, I couldn't afford the van and the house and everything else. My mom made Barbie furniture for me. And how she made the Barbie furniture, because my mom smoked at the time, she used a pack of cigarettes, an empty pack of cigarettes. And what she did is that it was rusty brown, because Rusty Brown was very cool at the time. Used rusty brown material, and she covered each one, sewed them together, put it back and everything else, and then put rickrack. Anybody know what rickrack is? If you don't know what rickrack is, I am so sorry you don't sew. Anyway, she put the gold rickrack around there. She made a little chair, she made a couch, and that was my Barbie furniture. How cool is that? And we've sewed our own Barbie. You could get patterns from Simplicity or Butterwick. I think it was Simplicity, not Butterwick. And you could make your own Barbie clothes. So we used to make our own Barbie clothes, and making Barbie clothes is not easy. You think it's easy, but there's still tiny little seams, and that's how one of the other ways I learned how to sew was making Barbie clothes and and bags and different things like that, and quilting bags. So this is where I think it's funny. It's great as a kid, I loved Barbie. I loved the whole idea of Barbie. I had Barbie collectibles. It was it was a whole Barbie thing. Um, you made Barbie clothes as a kid too, so that's so cool. We're from the same generation, Dana, to do that. Now, of course, I would have loved to have the whole Barbie accessories with the boots and everything else. And I always thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I could go shopping and I could get Barbie clothes? you know, and she was the one reason I wanted boobs. So, but I wasn't allowed a Ken doll. But my girlfriend down the street, her brother had an original GI Joe. GI Joe shrunk in the years. He went to about this size. GI Joe used to be a full size, but they shrunk him because he was a competition to Ken. It's fact. So one of those crazy things, eh? But it's the Barbie movie. I don't know if I'd pay my money to go see it. Like it has some really big name actors and stuff like that in it, but it's I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy, and I'm thinking like, man, it'd probably be a good distraction movie. I'm waiting for it to come out on Netflix or one of the stream ones, you know. As I certainly am not going to the theater and spending $30 to go see it. But, it is a no-brainer movie. It is a distraction movie. But what gets me this is what gets me. Okay, it's a movie, it's out there. Everything's becoming Barbie. They have Barbie to make your own Barbie house on HGTV. So they have where you are going into Barbie people's room, and now you're having Barbie this, Barbie that, and I'm just like, oh my god, like that's which is crazy. And I think, all right, people are taking, and now they got even Barbie clothes, like you can get your own Barbie clothes and stuff like that. How they're really pushing Barbie, like this whole Barbie thing is a very much a huge distraction, from anything else. Like you can, watch your HGTV and people can get their Barbie homes and everything all redone. And I thought, that's crazy. That's crazy. A great Barbie phenomenon. And I remember with Barbie, as growing up in my era, that all of a sudden Barbie was, she wasn't she had too big of boobs, and the portrayal of Barbie was wrong, right? Barbie had to become something. I mean, there was Barbie stewardess. If you ever had, if you can find the Barbie stewardess, where she was a Pan Am stewardess, but she had to be more. Then they brought Barbie astronaut and Barbie doctor, and I think they even had a Barbie waitress, a little Barbie waitress. But then, Barbie beauty pageants, and then they're like, well, she's not diverse enough. So of course we had a lot of different Barbies, but under different names. And I think Barbie even had a little sister. Was it Madge? Madge? The little tiny teen one, Barbie's little sister there. And then there's Barbie friends that came in, So we had all of the different, the different Barbie friends that would come in. But then there was Pippa, yes, Pippa, yes. Madge, Pippa, one of the it's a name. It was the name of the era, but Pippa, yes. And she had dark hair, right? So little sister is Pippa. So awesome. I love it. I love it. So all of these things were, what I grew up with. It was I loved playing Barbie. I played with Barbies probably longer than when I finally met my girlfriend Julie, when we moved to Penticton and stuff, and hanging out with Julie. Julie was younger than me by a year or two, and she says, "Why are you playing with Barbies?" I'm like, "'Cause I love Barbies. Barbies are fun." And Barbies is what, because I was the afterthought of the afterthought. My eldest sister next to me was 6 years older than me. I learned to play by myself. I learned to, have that imagination, and my Barbies would come alive. And I'd have these great conversations with my Barbies. And it's through my Barbies that I found out that my grandfather was dead, meaning that he would come to me as a ghost, and I didn't know he was a ghost. I thought he was just coming to play Barbies. So So Barbies, I have an attachment to Barbies, but I really think this is like becoming a craze thing. And there is a part where you see it, and I find it quite hilarious because everybody's on the bandwagon because it's so in your face for Barbie, and Barbie being exploited all over the place. Then there's another movie coming out, and it's the making of the atomic bomb. There's Ophius. Don't quote me on that. I don't know anything about that, but it has to do, so we have Barbie making of the atomic bomb. Two extremes, blockbusters, and then of course Indiana Jones. So Indiana Jones, is, yes. Don't ask me to pronounce that, Dana. Oppenheimer. That's what it is. Oppenheimer. So yes. So that's coming. That's a big one that's coming out with some big name stars, but they're all on strike right now because the whole of Hollywood's crumbling because they can't come out with anything new. And if they continue, so listening to a few people that are in Hollywood that I know, or don't, well, one I know, anyways, people that I know, that Hollywood, if it doesn't get its act together, it's going to be it's going to go down, right? So cue cards courtesy of Dana. Yes. Yes, Dana, thank you. I need it. I need the cue cards. My brain's just going so crazy today. And I think that's because the North Node yesterday went into Aries. So God, is this going to be the next 18 months? God help me. As Aries is very much a pusher to push to get things done. We'll get on to that in a moment. But with Hollywood, the whole Hollywood thing, it's collapsing. We're starting to see these collapse of these big industries, big, productions where, everybody, like when I was there was a show that came in from Edmonton when I was a kid. It was called Popcorn Playhouse. And Popcorn Playhouse was an Edmonton show, and you could get on it and you sat in there and they asked kids, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And mine was, I always wanted to be a movie star. I wanted that glamour, I wanted that life kind of thing, 'cause that's what you saw on TV, right? And I wanted to not only be a movie star, but I wanted to be bewitched. I wanted to be the bewitched Hollywood star. Maybe I got it now, Maybe I got it now. Who knows? So with that energy, but Hollywood had a a look, a glamour to it. And now with everything that's coming out, we are starting to see a underbelly of Hollywood. It has been there, but it's coming up more. Like we're starting to see more, and that's part of the crumbling of it when it comes to the writers, going on strike, and then the actors going on strike. So we're starting to see that underbelly come up. And the beautiful part, the good thing that I think about this, it is allowing for new and fresh people who are really wanting to produce some really great content, who want to give you that newness of the world around it, or the storyline. You're starting to see that come out. You're starting to see the originality. Now, the powers that be, they don't want things like that. I mean, when I looked into a little bit about the borax and why borax is sold as a detergent, it sort of like blew my mind how deep that rabbit hole is over borax, and because we all automatically think it's a bleach, right? And it's not. So that's the very first thing that we think, oh, it's going to make things whiter, it's going to make things cleaner, right? And then I'm thinking, no, I used to use borax with my kids' clothes all the time because it was gentler. It was easier on the clothing with the ivory snow, the baby ivory snow, and it really smelled so wonderful. But even soaking the diapers, because I used to use cloth diapers. Yeah, I'm one of those people that used to fold diapers and stuff like that um for my kids. But this is where the prop like what you've been told and going down the rabbit hole, right? You go down the rabbit hole and you find out that it's like the Rockefellers and that don't want you to be healthy, don't want you to be, and it's the same family that owns Borax today. It's been within the family, the one with the little cowboy girl on it and stuff. So, and we all know you all see it when you go down the detergent aisle. But how actually it's really good for you. And you could do your own research and stuff on it. I'm doing my research on it, and how good it is actually for you. This is this is where, when you see these things, like something like Hollywood crumbling, it's yeah, it's that glamour, but it's that illusion. The illusion is moving out of the way, and you're starting to see the truth. And many times when you start to see the truth of something, that Barbie isn't real and she's just got plastic boobs, that and Ken never had a dick, you know, you start to see that neither did G.I. Joe. You start to see the illusions starting coming out. And when the illusions start coming out, you start to see the craziness and the mess and the darkness and all of that stuff. But what else comes through is this beauty. What else comes through is like, oh my God, I never knew that there were so many great like people who actually do writing, people who actually do their own productions. That's one of the reasons why I do watch different people on YouTube, because their talent and how they're filming, and the time they take to actually film their content. And even with an iPhone, they're doing it with an iPhone, and they're filming different things, and then they talk to you about, okay, we got a new camera, and this is why we got a new camera to do this, or the drone shots. It's amazing, that you start to see this talent, and plus, then you start to see the real part of the world. And you step out of that illusionary part that this is what you're being told, boom, 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 boom. Then all of a sudden comes the real, right? And you're like, oh, that's the truth. That's the reality. Oh, wow. Like when I watched, um, if you don't watch Chateau Diaries, I watched Chateau Diaries, and I watched Stephanie, and she got invited by the president and by one of the ministers to come to Bastille Days. And I'm like, and she went to Paris. Like they drove, they caught the train, they went to Paris. And I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, because I've watched a few things on all of these eruptions and people, all the violence and stuff like that. And I'm just like, it just doesn't seem there's something missing there. Yes, there is disgruntled, and yes, there's immigration issues and yada yada yada. You didn't see any of that. You didn't see any disruptions. You saw the streets lined, the main street in Paris, whatever it's called, just lined with people on either side for Bastille Day. The only thing is that they didn't have the traditional fireworks because of everything. So you gotta sort of start to really look at these things, because there's another reality behind it. And this is where, when you start to see things fall apart, when you start to see things um go astray, and you're like, wondering about them, or you're wondering how, what it's all about. And then you watch some of these shows, like I'm watching Dan escape to rural France. He's rebuilding a chateau that burnt down. It's only the outside, and I'm watching it. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but anyways, I watch him because I'm seeing how he's reconstructing the chateau. He's out in the middle of France. I'm watching another guy redo a convent that he bought. He's in France, and I'm like, if there and all there's so many people. There's not so many people, but there's a lot of people that are moving to France to buy chateaus, and that's because of Chateau Diaries and renovating diaries, you know? And it's absolutely fabulous. But the beauty of this, they're living their life, right? What channel do you get to see these great shows on? YouTube. It's on YouTube, you know? That you're getting to see these wonderful talents. It's wonderful to watch. Like I've watched Dan since the lockdowns. Like I started watching, well, didn't he had his own channel. He was on Chateau Diaries. He was Dan the gardener. Watched him go to Turkey. He went to Turkey and got his teeth all redone. And you're just like, oh, don't go to Turkey. It's so bad. I've watched this lovely Russian couple do travel. And they talk about the things that are going on in Russia. And he's shown how inflation is in Russia. It's mind-blowing. There's another young boy, and I think he's almost like 25 or whatever. Anyways, he's moved to Vietnam right now. He's made enough money off of his YouTube, his Patreon, and he does this on a regular basis, and bringing you content and telling you how, about living in Vietnam and traveling and everything. It's cool, because you're starting to see where so much fear is given to you. So much fear is dealt to you. And then you watch and you're like, "Oh my God. Really?" Well, if they're saying this is so horrible over here, it's just like the other day they talked about a nuclear plant in Russia that was compromised. And a news show that I watch, it's called Redacted, and it's on Rumble, and it's on YouTube as well. But in watching Redacted, they had a guy say, "Hey, I will go there and interview the guy. I'll go. Just a journalist, because no other journalists went there to find out the facts. You don't have the journalists. They just like, oh, Kiev said this is what Russia said. No, move your fucking ass over there and get the news. And this guy did, and he talked to the guy in charge of the plant. He was more than willing to come out. He said, "Go, come, look, see." He says, if this was compromised with radiation, I would not be standing here. And why would the Russian government put mines on top of the reactors? He goes, why would they want to destroy their own people? Because that wouldn't even destroy their own people. This would destroy so much more if they were wanting to compromise it. Right? Oh yeah, and the Canadian Prepper. I watch them both too, Jed. These are the things. This is the stuff that awakens you, right? Same with Russell Brand. Okay, I'm in love with Russell. I mean, I've always been in love with Russell. I've followed Russell Brand when he was a crackhead on the English MTV. Anyways, because the thing is about Russell, I mean, he can be very annoying to people, and people can get very annoyed about him. He's a double Gemini, so his energy can be very it's very radical. It can really rub you the wrong way. But when you start to listen to some of the messages that he has to say, he's on the right track, right? And he gets people on there on his show from all different genres. Like, he's wanting to talk, he wants to have those conversations. And one of the things is that he had this big spiritual retreat that he puts on in England, and they had all these different speakers and yoga and everything else. It was just absolutely fabulous movement. But what I loved about it is what the message from it is like, when you get these movements together, when you get gather people together, is that you're creating a community. You're creating a community of like-minded people. When you get enough energy together, you're moving out that no longer exists, that illusion. Same with what's happening in Hollywood, with everything that's coming out about Hollywood, and all of a sudden they just arrested this fat pig who's an architect, who is a murderer or something. I didn't look into the whole thing about it. They arrested him. They just arrested another guy who happily left his phone, and the waitress picked it up to see if she could call him to let him know. And the shit that was on his phone, she turned it into the police. These things are coming out because we're rumbling. We're rumbling. We're making a change. We're bringing in a new vibration. So all of this shit has to come out, and we have to shift it away. We have to look at it, and we have to understand and say, hey, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. This is where they make somebody like Putin a man mad. I'm not saying he's a great guy. He's got some issues there, you know. He kind of gets rid of people he doesn't like. But what world leader doesn't? So this is like, but they make him out as the evil, horrible guy, right? And here's a person who's been saying over and over and over again, I want to talk peace. I want to talk peace. I want to talk peace. It's like there's a reasoning. He's a Libra, actually. There's a reasoning with him that, okay, this is what we can do. The thing is, it's that you got to come from a place of honesty. When you come from a place of honesty, you can come into a place where respect is there. And that's so important with the energies that are coming in, is when you're coming to a place that, yeah, you know what, I fucked up. Yeah, this is crazy shit. I shouldn't have done that. When you come up and you're owning it, taking 100% responsibility of your ownership, that changes your reality. That changes the illusions that you've been caught up in. And when you get caught up into those illusions, that you wonder why your life is all crazy and spirally and everything else. So this is getting you to where, no, you got to come into something else. You got to come into a newness. And as you are moving into that, it's disruptive. It's uncomfortable, right? And that's the energies that we're going into, right? Random comment, 90% of my content sent to me on TikTok is all about whistleblowers on aliens, literally everything. This happens to anyone else. Yeah, because they're pushing the alien. They're pushing a lot of things that you see that they're pushing is to I'm going to use a word that's really going to trigger a lot of people, but they're grooming you to get used to. They want you to get used to this thing. Um, there's another side to the alien thing too, where they've been working on holograms for since after, well, actually during World War II, because they did an experiment on the coast of California with that, of of making things look like a certain thing, right? So that's the whole thing. And the other part too is like, somebody I can't anyways was telling me go, start to do on TikTok, like do a lot more TikToks. I always feel weird on TikTok. Like, yeah, I like to watch it, it's fun, it's fast, blah blah blah. There's some really, wonderful people on there that I enjoy. Um and I today I didn't even post today. I totally forgot. But I find with TikTok it's one of those things that I know there's something more sinister about it. They're wanting to get rid of it, but they don't get rid of it because they know people are really hooked on it. And there's a lot of hooks in there. They're just, you know, um, there's a lot of sinister stuff. I know there's everywhere, but I know there's some crazy things with TikTok. But the thing is that when you start really looking at how things break down and how things are being pushed at you. Our prime minister, and it is on TikTok and stuff like that, and it's all over the place. Where I think was it at the games, the native games? I posted on my Instagram, where he was booed by 5,000 people. Like he's starting to see that the people of Canada don't like him, they don't respect him. And he's starting to see, like, one thing, I mean, he's a human being, I respect him, as being a human being. But there's that part where when he goes out on stage, nobody wants to hear him. When he's not surrounded by his patsies and have all his little wonderful plants that they put around him saying, rah, rah, we love you. When he's actually out there, he's seeing the truth of what people want. And the things that people were saying, they booed him. They told him to get the fuck out of Calgary. And he had a sly smirk. Yeah, he had a sly smirk on his face. I know. That's the other thing. And when I saw that sly smirk, the thing is that smirk is saying, go ahead, boo me, because I'm going to fuck you guys so badly. That's what that is. That's what that is. That smirk is where, there's a sinister side to that person. That person has something very evil around him and very tied to him. Because it's like, yeah, go ahead, boo, because you're just feeding into the beast. Yet you might be feeding into the beast. This is his thoughts. This is his energies, right? Thinking that you're feeding into it, but there's a demise in it. There's a demise, and this demise is being exposed, and the more will be exposed. I don't think the opposition is any better. I think all politicians are fucked. I really do. I don't think anyone is better. One is saying this so that this one, I don't. This is why I love the idea of, what Russell was saying about the communities coming together. And you get enough people to come together, you get enough people to come in that finally say, we're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to pay those taxes anymore. We're going to use our money and we're going to build the community we want to build here. We're going to take the money and build our infrastructure here and make sure the infrastructure that we build is in harmony with nature, is in harmony with that around you. And then another community can say, hey, we want to do that too. And in doing that, I mean, you see the Native Americans wanting to do that. when you start seeing them actually doing it and creating, you see beautiful energies start to flow. Nothing will be perfect, of course, but it brings in where people get to think in a new way, in a new expansion. And when we start to do that, then we're stepping out of that fear, the fear of, oh my God, what if? Oh my God, I don't want to, it comes into where in California right now, if you bought a house, you probably can't get insurance on your house. And that's one of the criterias for buying a house. Or if you have to get a loan, or if you, some of them are finding that they thought they had insurance, but there was something they didn't meet a certain criteria now, their insurance has been canceled. So you're going to be seeing things about insurance. I think insurance companies are a fucking scam. I really do. You know, I mean, yeah, if you get in an accident, great, a lot of, but I still think they're a scam. I really think it's a ploy, because half the time the money that you pay into them, you don't get out, or you don't get the full benefits of the insurance company. But that's the whole thing. There is a, and that's sort of what I got, when I was thinking in my head when I was working at the company there. It was like, oh, okay, I'm getting all these benefits, dot, 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 dot. I get all these benefits. It's great. I gotta continue on because I'm gonna get all these benefits. Oh, look at, I got extra insurance, I got this. And it's like, hang on, hang on. It catches you. It catches you. It gets you out of being 100% responsibility for your own self. When you start to do that, when you start to create the opportunity to be of service, and as you are being of service, asking, let me be of service. And then you ask, can can we serve enough to meet my needs? Can we serve enough so that we can meet our needs? This is where you're opening up to new possibilities. This is where you're opening up to new energies. And you start to see things happen in your life. It's like this morning when I did my little thing on the nettle. So I strained the nettle out this morning, and I had it only made 2 cups, by the way. It didn't make 3, it only made 2. So one's in the fridge for tomorrow. So with the nettle and stuff, I was thinking, man, wouldn't it be so nice if I had like a yoga studio and I could do yoga every day. And I'm thinking, hang on here. I am doing yoga every day. I've created my own little studio. It might not be the one that I would like, the lights and whatever else and the ohms and everything hanging from the ceiling, but I've created something here. And sometimes we miss out on that. We miss out on what we have already created. And it just doesn't look the way that we thought it would look. Right. And that's where it just sort of hit me. And I said, oh, thank you. Thank you. I did it. Thank you. Let's expand more. Let's create more, because this is where this energy's at. This is where this newness and this brightness comes in. So when you look at, if you go to the Barbie movie or don't go to the Barbie movie, whatever, but you start to see, okay, this is a fun movie. This is like a no-brainer, but is it worth my hour and a half out of my life? And that's what you guys ask yourself. No, I'd rather be doing something else. Or, I really enjoy it. Some people really enjoy it. So, it's like the other movie that's coming out that is breaking numbers, and it's the one movie that is increasing each and every week with profits. And that's The Sound of Freedom. And The Sound of Freedom comes in because it's a true story. It's a horrific story on how children get stolen, how disasters like, back, if you remember, when Haiti had its earthquake, and that earthquake in Haiti, it was horrific, because people were already poor, they're already destitute, and the first ones that went in were the American doctors, right? And there were many misplaced children. They actually, and I remember one story where some children were misplaced. Parents were somewhere else, and the kids were somewhere else. And there was this one woman, like she was looking for her daughter, and she saw her on a bus. Like, that's my daughter. And it was surrounded by a lot of, whoops. Are you okay? Okay, something fell. Was surrounded by a lot of Americans. And it was a bus full of children. They say, no, we're taking the children to the orphanage. You got to prove that this child is yours and everything else. And then the little girl saw her mummy, right? And was screaming for her mummy. And there was a filmmaker at the time, and he was filming all of this, and they had to stop the bus and let the little girl out. The orphanage was in the United States. They're taking these children to the States, and that was from Haiti, right? So out of the disaster. So they took these children to the States. Where they went from there, because there's no documentation, nobody knows. These are the kinds of things that the Sound of Freedom brings in. They're horrific. They're horrible. But that's the thing. It's like, even with Hollywood, they're horrific and horrible, but they have to be seen in order to make the change, in order to change the vibration, in order to create where, hey, we know what the fuck you're doing. All of a sudden, a guy gets caught who's a horrific murderer, who's an architect, who comes in and says, hey, hi, how are you doing today, Bob? Yeah, I'm just going to go in my office, and, and everybody thinks he's a fine, lovable guy. But they find out, holy God, he's a sinister, and that's what the devil does. This devil comes out to you to be so kind and nice and beautiful and wonderful. And then you find out, like, holy shit. And that's what's coming out. Those are the energies. It's just like the guy who left his phone. When I heard that story, I was like, the angels were at work. The angels were at work so that phone would get found. That's what happened. The angels were at work for that phone to be found, because 10 to 1, he probably kept that phone really close to him. And it was just a crazy thing where there was a mind block. Well, who blocked the mind? I think God did. So these are the things, when you get something like this coming out, there's more of a rumble. Not every country will allow that in to their theaters, and which is, horrific. I think that's a horrific thing. But that is where you start seeing a production company like Angels. It's called Angels Productions that produced that movie. That, oh, what other, this is where, oh, I want to put my energy into that production company. What other movies are you producing? What other things are you producing? And when you start to look at you finding out the other things they're producing, you're putting your energy towards something else. You're not putting your energy towards a big conglomerate that is trying to suck you and distract you, and that's controlled by something more sinister. This is where the change, the energy movement comes. But you see them in these micro doses, and those micro doses, when you do a micro dosing, it comes together, and it makes something huge. And that's what's happening. We're seeing these little micro doses. That's why, if you, like with the borax, and taking borax every day, and I'm not saying take a cup of borax, you put it in your water. It's like 1/8 of a teaspoon, and you're putting it in your water, and it helps to cleanse. It helps to alleviate any inflammation, and it takes away the calcification of the pineal gland. Well, what happens when the pineal gland gets calcified? Well, then you're not using your third eye. You're not using your truth. You're not seeing what truly. You're just like, yeah, whatever. Okay, I'll come over there. Give me an elixir. All right, I'll take another elixir. Okay, that's what it does. They want to dumbify you. They want to dumbify you. You see so many with the new drugs that are coming out. You see these homeless people are zombies, because we want to make you zombies. We want to make you so that you are unaware, whatever, just give it to me and I'll just sit in the corner. Oh, I'll watch the Barbie movie because it's great. And it just, yeah, okay. They want to distract you. They want to distract you. If you think about some of our ancestors, they didn't have those distractions. They had to get out, they had to do the things, and you think about even Teresa of Avila, when she wrote her book, The Castle, like, she talked about the energies coming from the dungeon all the way up to reaching the peaks of God, which are the seven levels. She didn't know anything about chakras. She had no idea what a chakra was, but she wrote about them because she was tapped into this energy. That's how shamans used to communicate, because they could tap into the energies that were there naturally so that they could actually communicate in different ways. People would get a dream, they'd get an insight, and they would trust their dreams, they would trust their intuition. They wouldn't get lost in something else. And that's why when you come together in things like communities and you're doing, you're coming together in these places where you're doing yoga, you're doing meditation. And I know a lot of you don't like yoga, or you don't do yoga. But what I love about it, this is just me, is that it changes your vibration. It gets you into a moving. And yoga isn't just doing downward dog. Yoga is a practice of you tuning into you. Yoga is a practice of coming into your insight, your truth, your beauty, your love, your joy, your happiness, your prosperity. That's what yoga is. It is something that comes in that allows for you to be centered in your each and every day. That's what, that's, part of the teachings that I have come to find. And when you lose those things, when you lose that, then you find that, okay, why am I being led astray? Oh, okay, I'm getting lost in this, or I'm getting lost in that. And sometimes, many of us, because we get so fearful, because we've been trained that we need a 9-to-5 job, or we need this in order to create our abundance. Yet there's a million and one ways to make our abundance. There's a million and one ways to make money. And it's just for us to tap in and begin to open those doors, begin to explore those doors. It may not be that $10 million that you think that you want, but it might be, oh, it's $100. Oh, it's this. This is why, one of the things that I'm doing, the yoga dharma class of love was an inspiration that came to me. And then all of a sudden I've seen like 3 or 4 other big name people doing it. And I went, oh, okay, well, they're doing it too. They have a huge following and whatever. I just have my little peep. I have my peeps, and this is where, no, I want to create that. That's what I want to do. My energy is to create a community in some way that is going to not only be online, but having a space, a place for connection. And having that space for connection is important in order to come together with like-minded people. This is where it could be a yearly event or a bi-yearly, twice a year event, where you come together and you come together with community. So you have different people coming and teaching a class, talking about, whatever, it's not, I know there's the pagan spirit and everything else that are doing there. Mine, it's not, it's yoga. It's the yoga, it's the dharma, it's coming into the sutras, it's coming into the kriyas, it's coming into where this has been around for tens of thousands of years. I'm not saying the pagans haven't been, but this is coming into a different form or a different practice that has been passed down and passed down and passed down and passed down. And even proven scientifically. I find for the pagan part is, because pagan is actually a fairly new word in our world, which pagan actually means one with the forest, or one with nature. That's what a pagan is one with nature, and coming together with nature. Which the word witch is more of a word that came along because of the witch hunts and making it evil. A conjurer was a person who did things that you had a conjurer and a witch. A conjurer was a person who would create medicines and things and for the community. They were thought as positive. The witches were thought as negative since the 1600s. 1500s. We can even go back to even to the 1500s, and where that was the thought of them, and really pushed by King James the second. But this is where, as we're coming into this energy, what it is that we want to create. How do we want to create this? And what does it feel like, and what does it look like? And everything is a vibration, and it's a vibration of how you are putting it out into the universe. And there are tools, there are things that we can start to do on an everyday on creating these new vibrations for ourselves. And it's like getting up a half an hour early in the morning to do what it is that you can do. Yeah, it's nice to stay in bed and not pay attention to your alarm, but this is saying, no, I'm going to make a plan that I need to get up at whatever time. Say if you have to get up, go to work at 6 or whatever, I need to get up at 4:30, and you get up at 5 usually. This is allowing yourself, and you're like, oh my God, that's too early, Mama, I can't do it. It's making the change in the vibration. It's allowing for that change to happen. When I started getting up at the 4:30 mark, instead of 5 for work, and doing the kriyas in the morning, that's where my vibration started to change at work. And when I had the reading, Sandra was saying to me, she didn't say my vibration, but my energy for the new manager, she could not handle. She couldn't handle my energies. She goes, for whatever happened, she goes, your energy was way too strong for her, and she did not want you there. So she was trying to find something because they couldn't find anything before. They didn't have anything before. That's what they told me. They couldn't, we didn't have anything before on you, but there's this one. So you must have did it before, right? Of of making a drink and taking it home. It was a demo drink. Anyways, but you must have done it before. And it's like, oh, well, no, but maybe there, this is where it's like, oh, okay, this is getting me out, getting me to change into what this new vibration is, and trusting in God, the divine goddess, universe, whoever, spirit, trusting in that divineness is leading into something more. And the thing is that when you really put that trust into it, when you really put it's like you open the heart and you're opening it up and saying, I'm coming into it. I'm allowing myself to come into this focus. Whew, it's scary because I may not be able to see with my eyes. I may not have it tangible here, yet it's there. It's there. And we want to create it. We want to bring that forth. Right? And in bringing that forth is allowing us to have that power and strength that we all have within us, but it's igniting it and making it more powerful. And that's what we're doing. This North Node, and I haven't even got into the astrology, this North Node in Aries is with us for the next 18 months. It is going to push us. It's going to push us to the limits that sometimes we're going to want to go to the South Node in Libra and like, no, I just want to bring in some balance. I want to bring in, but the one thing is being in the South Node, it can get you lost, right? It can get you lost in where I need some more diplomatic. I need some more work on this. It is a dispositor of Venus. Venus is a dispositor, as the ruler of Libra. So she wants to bring in, let's make nice. Let's bring in the balance and, things like that, where Aries is ruled by Mars, and it says, no, we're going forward here. We're making some action plans, and we are taking action in it because that's what we need to do. We need to be there. We need to allow ourselves to clean up what we need to clean up. This is where we need to clean the things up and make things better. We can't have the doubts. We just have to do it. when you sit there and you have the second doubts, that's when you're, as my mother would say, you're letting the devil in. You're letting the devil in. You're thinking too much. You're overthinking. Go with your first thought. Go with your first intuition. And this is where, it's a beautiful spiritual essence that we want to feel. We want to bring in that beautiful spiritual essence and bring that into a formation for us to live our lives. That's one of the reasons why, when I watch the different YouTubes and I watch them, they're living their life. I mean, it's fucking hard work of what they do. It's not easy to plan a shot and then, when you see somebody walking through a door, right, or the car driving by, well, they planted the camera there. They had to drive by, stop, get out, get the camera, stop the camera, and then they're going to edit that piece out, right? So there's an editing part to it too. So in order to make things flow, but they're creating this picture for you. They're creating entertainment for you in their lives and showing you, hey, this is what we do every day, and nothing is scripted. It's nothing scripted, so it's pretty cool. But anyways, I'm gonna pull some cards for you. If you are wanting, I do have my sale. I have a sale, 2 1-hour readings for $150. So if you want two, I think at 150 or 180, I can't remember. That's where my brain is. So I have 2 1-hour readings. They're on sale right now. Yeah, I think they're I put them on at 150 because they are 75 each. So if you are wanting that, the sale ends on Sunday. So and if you want to join me for the 40 days, and each day we're going to be meeting from 6 to 7:30. I have worksheets that you will get, and we're going to discuss that worksheet throughout the week, and anything, and bring that energy in, plus doing a meditation with that each day. So it's not going to be a weekly thing. It's going to be an everyday thing, like every evening from 6 to 7:30. And if you miss it, it is recorded. So join me on this journey. There is payment plans with it. Yes, there is money, there's exchange. I mean, this is going to help me to continue because I'm running a business. I want to run that business. That business wants to be of service, but to be of service, of course, we have the muggle things that we have to do within our within my home. And yeah, this is, when you're going to step into something, sometimes stepping into it it's a little murky, sometimes you can't see, you put your feet into the water and the water gets all murky and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you're like, no, it's okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. Things are going to come together. Maybe not exactly the way I want them. There's going to be things, that might be taken out, things that that aren't in my alignment that I thought were. So just have to trust in that. And with that comes the Queen of Waters. I call her the Italian Queen because the Queen of Waters, or not the Queen of Waters, so that's the Queen of Pentacles, but the Queen of Waters is the hippy dippy queen. Is the queen that comes in with her intuition. She has her flow. She has, her doing her yoga. She comes into wanting to bring forth and for you to develop things on a higher level. She wants you to care for yourself and care for others. She wants you to be empathetic and patient and loving with you. So here comes the Queen of Waters. And the Queen of Waters is, she can, look very stern as she sits in her chair, in traditional tarot, and, holding that vessel. And this is where it's like, yeah, and trusting, her head's usually down. So she's looking down because she's like coming into and looking, into the water, into that scrying and finding and following that intuition that comes in with her. And as she's doing that, it comes in the King of Fire. Whew, the fire and water, right? Fire and water come in. Love that dragon. Just love the dragon. And the fire comes in and he's motivated. He goes, you got the intuition, you have the energy, but we got to get motivated. We got to get moving with this. We got to come in and we got to focus. Yes, you can have the passion. This is passion. This is the fire, the energy, right? The transformation. And it comes in and it says, yes, you're caring for yourself. You're loving for yourself. Now let's focus that and create something over here. Let's bring this into some formation. And this is going to be where you need to, communicate with the vision, be the leader, be the person who comes in and says, yes, this is what I'm feeling. This is my passion, right? That's, I'm thinking of my Dharma class. This is my feeling, and this is my passion. And I want to share that passion. I want to be that leader with that passion and bring it forth. And with it comes the Ace of Waters. So the Ace of Waters comes in. Beautiful, beautiful card. And as the Ace of Water comes in, it's, having resurgence of your own intuition, having a resurgence. So as you're doing this and following it, you find that, oh my God, I'm getting more hits. I'm getting more things coming in. I'm starting to create new relationships and new friendships and communities. And in doing that is allowing me to be in more of a oneness. And here comes the sun. Archangel Uriel. Archangel Uriel is the angel of wisdom and bringing that wisdom and understanding. This is coming in. This is new ideas that lead to success. I heard a wonderful quote yesterday, and it was, I don't like to follow the rules. I follow the wisdom. And I went, I love that. I love that. Because I don't like following the rules, but I will follow the wisdom. I will follow the wisdom that's going to lead me somewhere, that's going to take me to a better place. Because the wisdom is there. There's wisdom. And when you follow that truth of the wisdom is going to lead you to have the confidence in yourself, to have those brilliant ideas, to believe that, yes, this is what I want to create. So follow the wisdom. You don't have to follow the rules, but you can follow the wisdom. It's not going to lead you wrong. The truth is in the wisdom, right? That's why I follow the planets. The truth is they're wise. They do what they do. They show you the energies and how things are interacting and how things can be beautiful and spiritual and and bringing this in. Yeah, the intensity's there. The intensity's there because they want to make you erupt, explode into something new and something more beautiful and enhancing that. So all of you have a fabulous day. If you're wanting to get my readings, if you're wanting to come in on this 40-day Dharma of Love, join me on this. This is going to be a fucking fabulous 40 days. All right. So have a blessed one, everybody. And we will talk to you tomorrow.